Hi everybody, welcome to a brand new week for the short story. Look, I'd like to actually kick off the video today by saying thank you very much to everybody who's taking this unit as an elective. The majority of the students actually in this unit are taking it as an elective and aren't creative writing majors. And I absolutely love that. This may be your only exposure to creative writing at QUT. And so if you've chosen this as an elective, I just want to say thank you. And I hope you're getting a good experience out of it. And I'm well aware that you're there and the unit has been written in the way that it has been so that you can audit it and that you're not at a disadvantage against people who are doing creative writing as a major. But welcome, and again, thanks very much for choosing this unit. I hope you're enjoying it so far. So look, a couple of issues that have come up this week that I'm going to talk about are around feedback and how to take feedback, and also about how I have chosen the short stories for this unit. So firstly, let's talk about feedback. Okay, so you're in critique groups, and what you'll be experiencing is you'll be getting feedback from multiple people about your work. And there's a couple of ways that writers respond to getting feedback. We're using these standard sheets to make the process safe and gentle and a good experience for you, hopefully. So you're not getting anybody coming in giving an uninformed critique in a way that might damage or bruise you, is one reason why we're using these critique sheets. But you'll be getting, a few different voices of opinion back about your piece. And what you might well find is you get a piece of feedback, and if you're a little bit insecure as a writer, you'll go and rewrite according to that, and then you'll get another piece of feedback that says something different, and then you'll go away and rewrite according to that. What I think the important thing is about feedback, and this is why we want you to be getting multiple eyes on your draft, be that in your critique groups or through the discussion board, is have a look at the aggregate feedback as well. And I might even encourage you to wait until you've heard all of the feedback on your story before you attempt to rewrite it. Because you might find a couple of things happen. You might find, firstly, that people have opposite views about some things. This isn't unusual at all. One person might really love something that you've done, and somebody else it didn't resonate with them at all. So you can expect sometimes to get competing or conflicting feedback. That's perfectly normal, because, of course, individual readers have very individual responses to a piece of writing. Or you may have everybody saying, look, I was a bit confused by this, I think this needs to change, etc., etc. Now, I think this puts you as the author in the driving seat. So once you've heard all of the feedback, it really is then your choice as to what you take on and what you don't. My editor used to say to me, before she sadly passed away, there's the editor's answer to a writing problem, and then there's the writer's answer to a writing problem, and it's always the writer's answer that's the correct one to go with. So if you are getting conflicting pieces of feedback, firstly, that's good, because you're going to reach some of your audience, and you can't please everybody with a piece of writing. You can't write anything that's just going to be universally adored by everybody. So if you've got conflicting bits of feedback, then that puts you in the driver's seat to really kind of use that as a point to consider what you're doing, and then adjust or don't adjust as needs to happen. What you will hopefully find over the course of this semester is a couple of really good readers. Hopefully you will find people who get your work and who give you really insightful feedback that you find has helped you write the story that you wanted to write in a better way. And when you do find a good reader, hold on to them. Make contact with them externally. say, look, would you like to be a reader of my stuff in future? Build that network really deliberately, because something you definitely want to do as a writer is surround yourself with good readers. Most writers have a couple of trusted readers who they'll run things past first to get what they know is good advice on their work before they then go take it to their agent or the publisher or whoever they take it to next. So please also this semester be on the lookout for your perfect reader. And when you find your perfect reader, marry them or buy them a nice block of chocolate or something like that, because that's really super important to you as well. So I guess the takeaway about how to respond to feedback is, look, listen to it, consider it carefully. There's few spaces where you will have people who are willing to put in the amount of time to give you this level of feedback on your work. So, you know, treat the feedback as a valuable thing and really hear it and understand where that person is coming from in their feedback about your story. But ultimately, you're the one who decides whether you want to respond to it or not. Like, ignore criticism at your own peril, of course, but you're the boss. So the next thing I've been asked about that I'll just talk briefly about is, how have I chosen the short stories for this unit? And boy, this is a biggie. I would love to be able to curate a collection of 100 stories for you to really show you what the genre can do. But you'd hate me for that. That's quite a lot of reading. And so instead, what I've tried to do in less than 20 short stories is curate a group of stories that captures a bunch of things. So, for example, one thing that I'm really conscious of is having a lot of female writers in there. Having people of colour represented, particularly Indigenous Australian work. I don't want you to just be reading, you know, white men's writing. I've tried to include some genre writing in there for people who enjoy genre writing. I'm trying to keep a lot of the writing list quite contemporary as well, so you can see what's happening in the short story now. So writers like George Saunders, for example, who's, you know, at the absolute top of his game right now, we're reading, as well as like Margot Lanigan as well. So really good contemporary writers. And then mixing that in with some of the classics as well, like The Yellow Wallpaper, which I just feel has to be set because it's such an important feminist piece of writing as well. And so I want to make sure that that's represented within the core of what you're reading too. Like later we get to some classics like James Joyce and so on as well, and Nabokov. But I'm trying to mix that up as much as I can, because one of the big considerations for me in selecting stories as well is, are you going to enjoy reading these? If I was just to set like classic, really highly renowned in literary circles short stories, you might find that they're a bit dense and that they're a bit difficult and they're not what you would naturally enjoy reading. Obviously, you're going to be exposed to a whole heap of authors who you wouldn't naturally choose anyway, and I think that's a good thing. But I do want to make sure that readability is part of what we've done here. So for example, when I have chosen Joyce later, I've picked what I think is his most readable short story for you, because I do want you to be enjoying the readings too. So there is so much thinking that goes into putting together a reading list, just curating this tiny little collection of less than 20 stories that in some way hopes to point a finger towards the vast ecosystem of beautiful, beautiful writing that's out there in the short story form. That's hopefully a little gesture towards the diversity and the I was going to say wonder, which is a little bit cheesy, but I'll go with wonder. The wonder of the form. Yeah, so that's what goes into it. And I spent a lot of time thinking, and I do change the reading list reasonably frequently. We're with the same reading list we were last year, just because moving online's been a big enough of a change for us this year without reinventing too much other stuff as well. And just finally, I'd like to give a shout out to the writing group as well that Shruti has organized. So once again, this is just an opportunity if you would like to meet some other people from the class to rock up to the library on Wednesdays at between 3 and 5, and basically just sit down and write together with other people. So if you're trying to block out some time in your calendar to get the writing done, this is the place to do it, where you can sit down and meet with other people. Now, I asked Shruti, well, how do people find you? And what she told me to tell you was just look for the crazy Indian lady who's writing really, really, really fast, sitting near where the high Q station is there on the first floor of the library. So that's where you can find that. Anyway, thanks everybody. Please come to the drop-in sessions. Please shoot me questions. And I hope you enjoy this week's lecture. Thanks very much.